We are starting with some breaking news. Want to warn you about a 7-car crash on I-90 near the Spokane Valley Mall that's bringing traffic to a crawl. Take a look. That is a live picture of the traffic backup right now. We are working to confirm information like how many cars and potential injuries there were. The Washington State Patrol. But for now, we can tell you that backup extends all the way west of the Hamilton exit. We do have a crew on the way to the scene. We'll bring you more information just as soon as we get it. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 6. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. Our other big story tonight, the Whitman County Prosecutor is now charging 15 Washington State University fraternity members and former members in connection with the 2019 death of Sam Martinez.
Martinez died of alcohol poisoning after drinking at an Alpha Tau Omega fraternity event. Our Ian Smay has more from Whitman County tonight.
Whitman County Prosecutor Dennis Tracy is charging 15 members or former members of the Alpha Tau Omega fraternity in the death of Sam Martinez. Martinez died in 2019 after he was found unresponsive following a fraternity event. The Whitman County coroner found that Martinez died from alcohol poisoning. His family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the university and the fraternity, and the charge that those 15 people are facing is furnishing liquor to a minor, which is a gross misdemeanor in Washington. The maximum penalties, if they are found guilty, is a $5,000 fine and up to a year in jail. The charging decision comes after the Pullman Police Department finished their investigation after more than a year of work. The police department had suggested charges, some of which included those furnishing charges, against 7 people. The other charges that were included in that recommendation were hazing charges against 2 people, but the statute of limitations has run out on those charges. Pullman Police Chief Gary Jenkins told me earlier this year that the investigation took so long due to a large number of people being interviewed, having left Pullman due to breaks in the school year here at WSU, as well as problems accessing a cell phone for evidence. I spoke with Whitman County Prosecutor Dennis Tracy just before 4 o'clock today. He told me he can't speak to the facts of the case as it is ongoing. He did tell me that he doesn't feel like this does justice for Martinez or his family, but he's doing what he can. He also says that this is the most amount of charges being brought forward from a single drinking event since he became the prosecutor. He added that this could serve as a way to combat binge drinking at events. And today the Martinez family has released a statement. It reads in part, "While the charges may lead to some level of accountability, this is not justice. It does not bring us closure. We are deeply disappointed that no one will face a charge of hazing in this case because the Pullman Police Department allowed the statute of limitations for that charge to expire." That's despite the fact that Pullman police found substantial evidence of hazing that would have supported hazing charges. The family also went on to say in that statement that they should start with making hazing a felony in Washington, not a misdemeanor, and extending the statute of limitations to ensure that hazing never goes unpunished again. Now, it's also important to note that the fraternity was suspended by both Washington State University and its national organization after Martinez's death. In Pullman, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
We are tracking some more breaking news along the Columbia River Gorge. A wildfire is burning 5 miles west of the Dalles, about 90 minutes east of Portland. Right now, there are level 3 evacuations in place. The Oregon State Police says some roads have been closed in that area, and there are also reports of downed power lines, which is complicating firefighting efforts. A burn ban went into effect in Wasco County yesterday. The 2020 wildfire season burned more than 1 million acres across Oregon. Speaking of, the heat advisory across the inland Northwest will not expire until tomorrow night, and we've actually broken an 84-year-old record today.
Yeah, it's incredible. Tom Sherry is outside right now in the heat. Tom, how much longer do we have to go through the heat until we see some relief?
Well, we'll start seeing changes on Friday, and by the weekend it will be all over. We'll be back to either average temperatures or even below average temperatures. By the way, an update, if you watched the 5 o'clock broadcast, we said that the high today was 93. Now the official high here in Spokane is at 94 degrees. And that breaks the previous record high of 92. There's the heat advisory. You can see it all across northern Idaho, into areas of western Montana, north central Idaho, and again into central Washington. And now a fire weather watch is in effect until Friday 10 p.m. And our excessive heat warning that we're talking about, that is going to be in effect until 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. So we've got hot weather to talk about. We'll look for this continued, as I said before, that continued heat advisory in effect through Thursday. Temperatures in the 90s again tomorrow, and then we'll look for windy and cooler weather developing Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. 92 degrees, that's the current temperature. That's a live look, by the way, out at Independence Point on Lake Coeur d'Alene, and you can see everybody's just loving it. It looks like we're in the middle of summer summer right now rather than the very beginning of June. We'll look for 80s this evening. We'll look for temps to drop to 64 overnight, 92 the expected high on your Thursday. Looking ahead to the weekend, the heat is over. We'll go for 72 on Saturday, 68 degrees expected on Sunday. Here's the rub, though. If we get a fire started between now and Friday, they're going to have to knock it out quickly because it's going to become very windy Friday into Saturday as that cold front moves through. I'll have your 10-day outlook coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. The families of 2 black students at Sacagawea Middle School are asking the district to publicly apologize and remove the school's principal following a disturbing lesson in social studies.
They say after they went to the principal, he made the decision or situation worse, rather. Our Casey Decker spoke with an ACLU lawyer working with the family about what exactly happened.
In a social studies lesson, apparently about the Industrial Revolution, the students say their teacher pulled out a box of raw cotton and told the class, let's see who can clean it the fastest. The 2 girls say they were the only black kids in that classroom that day, and that being told to pick cotton was a humiliating experience.
They were surrounded by their classmates who were making comments like, man, it must have sucked to have been black. I could have never been a slave and picked cotton. This is garbage. I really would have hated to have been black.
Kendrick Washington, the ACLU lawyer working with the family, says they don't believe the other students meant to cause harm, but it's the teacher's responsibility to know better and to be more thoughtful about the weight these issues hold.
Slavery is not a game. This isn't a fun situation. It's not something that should be trivialized, and handing out cotton and saying who can clean it the fastest, like that's not what we want to teach. And it's not just detrimental to the young African-American women who are in the classroom, but it was really detrimental to all those students.
The girl's mother says she called the principal following the lesson, and at first he denied it even happened. Then the family says he called back later and actually made things even worse.
And his response to them was, well, if your daughters don't want to be around their white teacher, we can segregate them into another classroom.
The problem with that response was twofold. One, the students' problem was with the lesson, not the race of their teacher. And second, of course, the choice of words.
And to be so insensitive, to lack any form of couth and use the word segregation when discussing what to do with these 2 young black girls who were just cleaning cotton, it's just like something wasn't connecting in his brain that day.
The district sent us a statement, reading in part, quote, "We take all complaints very seriously and are committed to investigating them fully. There are conflicting reports to this incident. Once the third-party investigation is completed, we look forward to coming back to share the outcomes." Now, in response to all this, the family has a number of requests. First, they want the principal removed for his conduct. The ACLU says he's actually been accused of discriminatory behavior in the past, too. Second, they want a formal apology from the district. Third, they want the district to follow through on the commitments to anti-racism training they made in their equity resolution last year. And fourth, and most importantly, they say they want to make sure lessons like these are never taught again so that other students don't have to go through the same experience. In the meantime, the family has taken those students out of school. They say they hope that when the district remedies this, they'll also help the girls to get back into the classroom without any sort of conflict or retribution. Reporting at Sacagawea Middle School tonight, Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
A new report from the Washington Department of Health found that more than 900 COVID-19 cases were associated with school outbreaks in Washington. These outbreaks range from K through 12 schools between August 2020 and April 30th of 2021. King and Spokane counties had the largest number of COVID-19 cases, both with 219. So according to the report, there were 909 confirmed cases, no deaths, and fewer than 10 cases required hospitalization. The DOH said 88% of the hospitalized cases were among adult school staff. 61% of the reported cases were in students ages 18 and younger, and a total of 237 school outbreaks were reported to the DOH during that time. 70% of the outbreaks involved 2 or 3 cases.
70% of Washingtonians vaccinated. That is still the benchmark Governor Jay Inslee has set to fully reopen the state by June 30th or earlier. But will we actually reach that goal? The State Department of Health thinks yes. Right now, 62% of people eligible in the state have had at least 1 dose of the vaccine. The state is confident we'll hit that mark this month. In fact, it could happen even sooner than June 30th.
We absolutely have the capacity and the supply to advance early or reopen the economy early. We need more people, and there are more people who are not vaccinated in that 16 and older category to step forward and take the vaccine.
Over 7 million doses of the vaccine have been officially given out here in Washington.
Still ahead, it is a hot day across the inland Northwest. We've already reached record temperatures, so how can you beat the heat? Well, there's one idea right there. Our Thomas Patrick live in Coeur d'Alene with tips coming up after the break.